Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ogbanje Joseph. Please subscribe to this channel, share, like, as well as drop a comment on the comment section. So today, our lecture is going to be titled Categories of National Planning. Categories of national planning or types of national planning. Now, let us look at it this way that national planning or planning generally, can be defined as a calculated attempt to achieve a goal. Okay, planning can be seen as deciding in advance what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and who is to do it. Now, it is a deliberate government attempt to coordinate, control, to coordinate economic decision making, over a long run, and to influence, direct, and in some cases even control the level and growth of a national principal, a national of a nation's, principal economic variables. So when we're talking about national planning, we are actually looking at a plan that a government has for the entire nation. So if a government decides to actually do some thinkings, decides to actually do some calculation, decides to actually put down some frameworks, or government officials actually sit down, to have an action plan, a blueprint or a framework on how they actually want to direct the course of action of that country, to move it to a greater height. Such a nation is actually what such government is doing is what is known as national planning. Okay, so we are going to go into the types of national planning very quickly. What are the different types of national planning that we have? Number one, and I'm going to categorize them. Number one is planning activity according to time horizon. Planning activity according to time horizon. Now, under the planning activity according to time horizon, there are different types of planning under it. And what are the types of planning? Number one is short-term planning. Short-term planning. What is a short-term plan? A short-term plan is the type of plan that actually ranges from 1 day to 1 year. Is a type of plan that actually takes place or takes effect, within 1 year, or within 1 day, or within 1 year. Okay, so if it is between 1 day to 1 year, such kind of plan is called short-term plan. A very good example of short-term plan is a government's budget. Now, the annual budget of a nation can be referred to as a short-term plan. Okay, so that is number one. So even as an individual, if you have a plan for your day, if you have a plan for 6 months, if you have a plan for 3 months, if you have a plan for 2 quarters or 3 quarters, as the case may be, or if you have a plan for 1 year, what you are doing invariably is what is known as short-term plan. Number two is medium plan. Medium plan is the type of plan that happens between 2 to 5 years. Example is actually development plans or rolling plan, as the case may be. Okay, that's number two. That's number B under the planning activity according to time horizon. Now, number C under it. Okay, that is number C under the type of planning that is under planning activity according to time horizon is long-term plan. What is a long-term plan? A long-term plan is a kind of plan that happens between 6 to 10 years. Example of this kind of plan is MDGs, Marshall Plan, SDGs, and all of that. Now, this is actually, these plans that I talked about are basically for 10 years, 15 years, and all of that. Now, this type of plan is actually called, long-term plan. Okay. Now, that is number one. All of these that I've mentioned, they are under planning activity according to time horizon. What is number two? Number two is planning according to activity coverage. Planning according to activity coverage. Now, what are the types of planning according to activity coverage? Number one is, but don't forget, when we're talking about planning according to activity coverage, we are looking at the type of planning that is actually done to cover certain actions, decisions, and policies of government. What are those things? Number one under it is sectoral plan. Now, what is a sectoral plan? A sectoral plan is actually specific sector type of planning that targets at a particular sector. For example, we have education plan, we have agricultural plan, etc. That is sectoral plan. B is comprehensive plan. A comprehensive plan is a type of planning that actually takes into cognizance the entire aspect of a nation, the entire parts of a nation, particularly the grassroots. Okay, so that is comprehensive plan, and it is a type of plan that actually takes the grassroots into consideration. A very good example is environmental development plan, transportation, primary health care services, and all of that. Okay, so that is actually comprehensive plan. Then the last one under planning planning according to activity coverage is project planning. Now, this project planning is the type of planning that is focused on specific projects. A very good example in Nigeria is the Shiroro Dam plan, power works. Okay, and then we have the second Niger bridge. All of these are actually projects that the government wants to embark upon. Okay, then number three type of planning is planning according to geography, scope, and location. Planning according to geography, scope, and location. Under this, we have the following example. We have the following types. Number one is local plan. Now, this is actually a plan for a local government, area council, and all of that. Now, number B under that is national planning. Now, this is the type of planning that cuts across a given country, touching on all states in such a nation. Example is national budget. National budget is actually done for the entire nation. Then number C is regional planning. Now, what is a regional plan? A regional plan is a type of planning that takes into consideration, that cuts across a region or a continent. Okay, we have under this, it is actually a transborder plan, that actually touches a particular region or a continent. Example is Nepal in Africa. Then number number D under planning according to geography, scope, and location is World Plan. Now, World Plan covers the 198 member states of the United Nations, and examples of World Plans are Marshall Plan, MDGs, SDGs, Marshall Plan, etc. Now, you understand? So those are the things. Now, let us look at what is the political dimension of national planning. What is the political dimension of national planning? Now, basically, there are two major types of political dimensions to what? To a national planning. We have the socialist planning and the capitalist planning. Now, what is the socialist planning? A socialist planning is the type of plan where the government, or the state actually controls everything, including the economy, and takes care of her citizens. What are the features of a socialist planning? Number one, centralization. Okay, of course there'll be centralization of the economy, that is actually managed by the state. That's number one. Number two, compulsory employment. Of course, there will be employment for the people, and that will be guaranteed by the state. Number 3 is education for all. Now, there will be compulsory qualitative education for all. Number 4 is one party system. In a socialist economy, several multi-party systems are not allowed, so it is just one party system. Okay, then number 5 is egalitarian economy. There's a level playing field for everybody to actually participate in the economy. That is under the socialist planning. Let us look at the capitalist planning. Capitalist planning, this is a plan that takes that makes the state to hands off, okay, from the economy for the private individuals to actually control. So the commanding height of the economy is actually controlled by private individual. What are the features? Number 1, there is population check. You understand? So population is not allowed to actually explode, okay, because of course it will not actually be very manageable for the state. That's number 1. Number 2, control of inflation. At every point in time, the government puts policies in place to ensure that there is no hyperinflation, or there is no skyrocketing of inflation within that economy. Number C or 3, high employment opportunity. Of course, when individuals are given opportunity to actually play in the economy, they give employment to private individual or to individuals. Then number 4 is decentralization. Of course, the private sector is allowed to actually participate in the economy. The next one is division of labor and specialization. The next one is promotion and protection of market forces. So the invisible hand is allowed to actually control the market's space. Then the last one is fiscal and monetary policy. Thank you very much.